Tenpai, Centurion, Superheavy Samurai. You heard me say that all correctly. And we have Infernoids pre-battles. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on this content. I think this has been one of the most interesting regionals that I have had the chance to look at so far because there's just so much going on in the top cut for this event that I don't think you're going to believe this. So the first deck that we have is Kashtira, which is pretty standard stuff to see, all right? Nobody's going to bat an eye at that. And then you have Snake-Eyes, all right? Pretty basic stuff. But then we start getting into these other interesting things. Like we had an Infernoid Snake-Eyes deck, and you're probably like, wait a minute, this is like, it has a very extended out Infernoid package. It's doing the Snake-Eye stuff because, you know, Fire Synergy, you're not going to be doing that. And then it has a Mini Fire King package built into the deck as well. Okay. Then we have a Tenpai Centurion Superheavy Samurai deck, which was the headliner for the introduction for this video, which I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, the fact that you have all of these different engines kind of coming together here, and I can only imagine the going first, going second wars going on in your head as you're looking at that matchup and you're just trying to figure out what you want to do for that matchup. We also had one Yubel, which is pretty standard stuff, honestly. Yubel's definitely been one of those challengers that I think we're going to continue to see. We also had another Centurion deck in this top cut, which, once again, not all that surprised. We also had what was classified as a Snake-Eyes Horus deck, and I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at the way that that pile played too, there's so much different ideas going on here. Like, I hodgepodge everywhere. And then we also had Runick Stun, so my personal favorite kind of coming in here. But to be honest with you, this format, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, has some of the most interesting ideas that you can try in a meta and find success with, and that's what you want to see. Let's pass on over to deck list. So winning our event here was none other than Kashtira, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not disappointed to see, you know, old Reliable out here kind of doing its thing. Mid-range control is still, you know, the best thing that this deck has going for it. You also have the shifters in here. You have the double Moonlit Chill, which is fine, and of course, hey look, seal off your opponent's graveyard with the power of the Gravekeeper's inscription. I'm also happy to see that we are doing the G-Golem Crystal Heart on into the Heat Soul play. You know, some builds had actually completely cut this, which is kind of hilarious to me to actually see, you know, the removal of this package from this deck, but I still think that it's absolutely correct to play this. Bulking down on other options aside, I don't know, you just want the draw power for this, especially, you know, if you're toggling into like a side deck here trying to play the game. So overall, not too bad to be seeing. Just once again, remember, old Reliable is going to be the thing that's going to carry you through a lot of these events and actually get you into top cut finishes, as long as you know what you're doing. All right, we also have this Infernoid deck here, and this is kind of interesting because you do see we do have the Arvadas and the Kirins in here. You're going to be playing this stuff basically for the ability to pop and extend on through so you can do your thing. Of course, the Dankatrons here to bury down, you know, the Deviati, so you can start setting up the Revive package so you can kind of do your thing. Also, don't forget that this is a level 1 fire monster, so for all intents and purposes, you're able to float on into this off of the original Sinful Spoils and punish your opponent pretty freely with this package, which is very, very solid. Even after all of this, we're still only doing one copy of the Flamberge Dragon in here. Keep in mind that this should be fine. You should be at a point where if you're playing this mini cards, you shouldn't have to worry about the bricks clogging up your hand too much. We are doing one fire recovery in here, which I do think is fine. And of course, we are taking advantage of the Monster Gate and the Reasoning. These are both very good. Also, technically, I mean, you can thrust on into these if you really need to. That's going to be a very important thing for this deck, is the fact that you can get to these slightly sackier cards, put the pressure on your opponent so you can do your thing. But there are so many moving pieces in this pile of cards. Like, genuinely, when I first saw this, I was like, holy crap, like the fact that we're pulling this off pre the support is definitely very interesting to me. And I can't wait to see how this duelist is going to evolve this once we get the next wave of support, because that's what you want to see out here. You want to see how we're going to interact with the future stuff out here. And of course, there's the Grave Dragon. You do have the super poly target for the U-Bell. I do find it funny, though, being able to chomp up your opponent's field just so you know you can do your thing is very, very solid. But so many moving pieces. They actually even had the one of Change of Heart and the one of Monster Reborn in here as well. Holy crap. I love this. This is so cool. All right, next up is our yeah, this is the pure gas deck, as we're gonna call here. So imagine a world where you're like, all right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play Centurion. You can do the full little lock against your opponent with the King Calamity and all the little fun stuff that you're gonna do. Not a problem, right? But then you've also got the super heavy samurai scales in here, so you can kind of do your thing. And then, just in case you need to clean up the game, you have Tenpai dragons in here as well. Also, this does give you another access line to technically synchro summon, because this is also a 4-tuner. So that's something to kind of think about. You need to turbo on into a Noxwella or a Legatia. Well, your little level 4 guy here can actually kind of help you. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. This looks awesome. In fact, we also have the Wake Up Centurion on the Phalanx down here for a little extension plays as go. We're just relying on the one Emmet, which I think is fine. I want to... Okay, what's a test hand? Oh, Sengen Kaiman, and... Well, this is unfortunately very... very... You can do things with Oath, I guess. There's the Motorbike, there's the Wakashi, and we have the Trudea. Oh, boy, we're going places. This is... Gosh, just the fact that Sengen Kaiman just lets you steal games by just even having this card in your deck is so cheesy to me. Like, and there's the summoning as well. Like, and we open the shifter. Ah, come on, man. This is... Just looking at those few test hands, this deck actually is a monster. Good stuff. Like, creativity at its finest. Hey, we have a basic Centurion deck for you now. So this is what happens when you gut out all the finer technical choices, and you're kind of left with your reliable engine, which is fine. Most of these builds have definitely gone to the one of Gargoyle, which is fine. You do want to have the Gargoyle and the Emmet. Both of these are going to be helping you out. You do see that most of these builds have gone to the Wake Up Centurion, which, to be honest with you, I think is fine. Wake Up ensures that, you can get the token generation up and running, and then you're able to do the synchro summons a lot easier. And you do see that we do have the Phalanx built on into the main deck here. As much as I do want to see the builds trying out the Counter Trap card again, Phalanx is just a better card. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everything that Phalanx does for this deck just feels infinitely better. And of course, you have the good old deck lockdowns down here in the side deck. This card's been getting some pretty good value for what it actually is. So that's basic Centurion. And then of course, we have this was classified as our Horus build. And the note that I got for this is just Volcanic Shell Turbo, which is actually kind of understandable, actually. Basically, you're using the shell to fuel out the sarcophagus load, and then you're just filtering. That's all this is. Like, one shell plus one sarcophagus equals 3 dudes on the field, which 3 dudes on the field is a draw 3 because a giant trainer going first. Isn't that cute, actually? I guess we've gotten to the point now that we look at Giant Trainer and we're like, hey, you're a free loadout for draw power. You want to try to find as many ways as you can. I mean, you don't have to go down that load. I mean, you have, the standard reverse play down here to kind of do the standard basic stuff that you want to do with a deck like this. You also have the double Flamber's Dragon in here. Everything is, I think, fine in terms of ratios and what you're trying to do with this deck. It's a lot more standardized than I thought it would be, but easy stuff. And we have our Runick stun pile for you here. Actually sporting off the triple border. I do think border's probably the way to go right now. Unfortunately, you don't really get much of a say in it. You do have the card demise. We are doing the card scanner, which is very good. I also see that Morganite has been getting cut back a lot in these builds. You see the one of it and you go. That's all you can really justify at the moment. I also see we do have the one multi-universe down here as well. This has actually been kind of nice. And I mean, also the protection effect for this is actually pretty important for a lot of scenarios. You do see the double organism down here, and you do see Solemn Judgment making its rounds again. Unfortunately, you kind of have to rely on Solemn in this current meta to kind of keep you in the game at certain points. It's very unfortunate, but that's just kind of the situation I think we found ourselves in right now. So, what do you guys think about the interesting course of the meta? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.